the beautiful coastal village of Betty's Bay, and of course we are at the African penguin and seabird colony down here at Stony Point. My name is Byron and I'm going to be your naturalist for the day. I'm joined by Mr. Igor Potgieter behind the lens, and it's going to be an action-packed 1 hour down here with all our seabird friends. We are coming to you live, of course, and we would love to hear from you. So please head over to our website where you can register. You just need to go to wildearth.tv/questions. And then you can post your comments and questions and even stories to us down here on site. Alternatively, you can also scan the QR code on your screen. Igor and myself have decided to come down to World's End. We were down here yesterday and the conditions were a little bit different. The wind has completely changed direction, so we are feeling the effects of the cold ocean breeze. And we have some beautiful Cape cormorants, and just look at this individual displaying. Where is your beautiful female, my boy? He is working that neck really hard, trying to attract the attention of a potential mate. And just look how that throat is inflated as well. That is really such a beautiful sight. While this cormorant entertains us, let's head over to the official weather forecast and see what the weatherman has to say today. Forecast 17 degrees and partly cloudy. There are definitely some clouds hanging offshore, and it is quite chilly. And I think that Igor and I are experiencing a little bit of a temperature drop than that. We probably are experiencing about 15 degrees just because of the wind chill coming off this icy Atlantic Ocean, which looks very wild today in comparison to yesterday. The swell seems to be up and the wind is definitely chopping up the ocean. And even though it is low tide, the waves are crashing very hard against these rocks. We actually saw a penguin earlier surfing these treacherous waves straight towards the rocks. Little daredevils the penguins are. You wouldn't find me riding straight towards that rocks on my bodyboard for sure. How's it, Andy? Thank you so much for the warm welcome. It is an absolute pleasure to be back at Penguin Beach. Definitely my favorite place to be on planet Earth, I would say. I really do look forward to these hours this hour that I get to spend with everyone, bringing all the action from Penguin Beach. And it is nice and wild and woolly today, just how I like it. And there's a lot of broodiness in the air in comparison to yesterday. The Cape Cormorants were very hunched up yesterday and they were relatively chilled out. But today seems to be a lot more courtship behavior taking place. There's a lot of individuals bringing nesting material from the ocean to the rocks. That's one of the advantages that the cormorants experience during these onshore southeast winds, is that all the floating algae comes and drifts very close to the colony, and they can simply fly out to sea a couple of meters and collect this material and bring it back to this nesting area.
The Masai Mara in Kenya, a remote landscape where wilderness reigns. Its inspirational beauty captivates the hearts of many around the world. This year, from August, WildEarth is leading a number of unique expeditions to follow Africa's greatest wildebeest migration here in the Masai Mara. And now, the remaining places have been discounted by 20%. Head over to our website to find out. Here at WildEarth, we promised great monthly prizes for our explorers, and this month is no exception. If you join our club before the 10th of July, then you stand a chance to win a fabulous Safari Guide online course brought to you by Bushwise Field Guides. They specialize in accredited safari guide training with courses tailored for the African safari lodge industry. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer today and don't miss out on this life-changing opportunity.
So we have been watching cormorants scratch themselves with their hairbrush-like middle claw. Very, very handy to have that. There are some really broody individuals directly in front of us. Dancing away. Let's see how this plays out. I just love watching the shadows against the rocks, actually. One individual looks like it has some nesting material in its bill. We know that the male likes to collect most of the material and bring it to his partner. It's actually quite a number of pairs sitting together on that rock. Hello, Sammy, and welcome to the show. And thank you so much for sending your question in. So the cormorants that we are currently observing are known as Cape cormorants, and they feed primarily on small little bait fish like sardines and anchovies. They travel quite far distances offshore to go and locate them. They often actually hunt with the penguins as well, so they share the same food source as the African penguin. There are a number of different cormorant species that occur here at Stony Point, 3 more to be exact. The majority of them, or actually all of them, do eat fish, but the bank cormorant has a very high affinity for west coast rock lobster. And if you look at the design of cormorants, they have very long necks. The bank cormorant has quite a thick neck as well, and that allows that specific cormorant to cruise along the ocean floor and stick its head into rocky crevices where these rock lobsters lurk. There really is a lot of love in the air down here today. It's amazing how in 24 hours the activity has changed. Lots of displaying taking place. And all these cormorants are looking in tip-top shape. Beautiful, beautiful orange throat pouches that they use to attract their mates. They look quite serpentine in their movements when they move their necks around like that.
It's time to put your feet up after a long week. WildEarth invites you to unwind with a weekend at the waterhole, our life source of the bush, home to so much joy and danger. Join us on the 9th and 10th of July to get your wildlife refill broadcasted to you live all weekend at the waterhole. WildEarth's weekend at the waterhole is going to be epic, and we want to make sure that you are kitted out for the occasion. We've launched some wonderful merchandise just for you. Are you a dam cam lover? Find these and more on our website. So get your snacks ready, put your feet up, and join us for a weekend at the waterhole.
These are the two individuals we were observing displaying courtship behavior. They're still busy with courtship. I love it how the individual's tail is really cocked up at the nest, pointing straight up. Bobby, you are quite right. Cormorant chicks are born with quite long necks, and they can lay, the adults at least, can lay up to 4 to 5 eggs. As they grow, it can look quite comical when you see all these young chicks begging for food. Kind of looks like Medusa's hair, I would say, sitting on the nest. So very, very comical to observe, especially when the adults come back and are bringing some lovely partly digested fish treats to them. We did observe earlier this year, a little bit closer to autumn, when the white-breasted cormorants were all very busy with their broods. And we observed a number of chicks extending their long necks, begging for food from their parents.
Penguin in the water. Oh yeah, look at that.
Eagles spotted a penguin that has decided to try and fight the whitewash. You can just see how much surge there is and whitewater crashing. Very, very close to the rocks. It is a juvenile penguin that I believe that you have found there, Eagle. But it's just disappeared behind the rocks. It's amazing how well they can maneuver in these conditions. This area does face due south, and it doesn't take much for the southwest swell to retract around Hunclip and hit the rocky areas here directly. That's why it's very, very rough here. The rest of Stony Point requires the waves to bend all the way around there. Hello, Lisa, and thank you so much for that interesting question about our marine torpedoes, and very, very relevant because they have to swim quite fast when they are subjected to conditions like this. So when they are just hanging out and floating, bobbing around on the surface of the water, they're not going too much faster than about 1.5 kilometers. That's when they are kicking with their webbed feet. Penguins don't really swim with their feet unless they are on the surface. They prefer to use their feet as rudders. At the general traveling speed of penguins when they are heading out to the foraging grounds, it's about 6 to 8 kilometers per hour. But if they are pursuing fish or being chased by a predator, they can reach speeds of up to 19 kilometers. That's about the maximum speed that they can travel. And when they are being pursued by a predator, such as a Cape fur seal, you'll often see that they porpoise out the water, which enables them to generate even more speed. It might sound quite slow when you say 19 kilometers is about their maximum speed.
If you would like to be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration in Kenya live on WildEarth, then we have some great news for you. There are a few places left to join our expeditions in August and September this year. You'll be staying in an exclusive tented camp with ensuite bedrooms nestled in the riverine woodlands of the Talek River. Head over to our website to book your bucket list experience today. WildEarth Expeditions. Travel with purpose.
So it's the weekend, and what better way to spend a day than sat near one of these wonderful waterholes? So get yourself some snacks and a hat and come and join us for the weekend at a watering hole.
So for the days the 9th and the 10th of July, our teams here at WildEarth from across Southern Africa are going to be spending quality time at a number of waterholes.
We will see you there.
See you there.
Hello, Cindy. So at Stony Point, they don't do too much wildlife relocation. If there is an injured penguin, for example, or a penguin that gets oiled by an oil spill, the penguins or other seabirds will be captured and transported about an hour and a half away to Sandcob, the penguin hospital, where they will receive treatment, and they are generally released in the same area. Sometimes penguins are released in different areas, but they have very, very strong fidelity to their natal sites and often return within a couple of days, depending on how far away they are released. What does happen down here at Stony Point, it's not really relocation, but they do remove invasive species, and it's mainly vegetation that they remove. There's a plant that I would like to say found its way here, but it didn't. It found its way with humans because we wanted to plant them on the sand dunes to stop sand movement, and they have completely taken over this area. So Sandcob, no, not Sandcob, Cape Nature. Cape Nature remove them periodically, depending on when the penguins are breeding, and they try and reduce the amount of roikrans that occurs in this area. They're currently busy with it now, as a matter of fact. Igor is absolutely loving the waves, and why not? It is very, very mesmerizing. We do have quite a large flock of Cape Cormorants. It might just fly into frame. Coming from the west, turning the skies partly black. I think these individuals were just disturbed on the rocks further to the west than us. They seem to be heading back in the same direction and settling down there once again. I thought just for a second that they might have been coming foraging offshore, but I do not believe that that is the case. There are African penguins that have settled very close to where the cormorants are currently nesting, and these two are engaging in some loving behavior and some allopreening. This area that they are standing is right next to a penguin highway. There's a baby blue somewhere around here that is currently hiding in the rocks.
We want to make it even easier for you to interact with our guides whilst watching WildEarth. When you see a QR code like this pop up on your screen, then open your phone camera, point it at the code, and you will be taken directly to our question page. Simple as that. Then you can let us know what you want to see, ask questions, and much more.
I've had it before where I've been walking and the waterbuck's jumped out of the grass. It's quite a frightening experience.
WildEarth, it's in your nature.
And I definitely approve of that preening behavior, because little African penguin chicks can be quite stinky at the best of times. They often sit in their soiled nests. So it's very important that their parents do look after them. You'll see that at the moment, the adult is actually guarding the nesting burrow, keeping its youngster nice and safe, keeping it inside that burrow, away from the wind. Igor, you're looking at me with a very perplexed face. What would you like to do?
Want to head out?
Cool, so Igor would like to go for a walk. So we're going to go freehand here. The camera is going to come off the tripod, and we're going to go have a walk down the boardwalk and have a look at the nesting area. So Igor and myself are going to take a walk, and we're going to try concentrate on the nesting area. Okay, Igor, so let's go take a walk. I'm going to carry your tripod for you. Alrighty. It's always a team effort working together on Penguin Beach as we get mobile. So we saw an amazing creche of baby blues in this area yesterday, and we're going to go see if we can take a closer look. The nests are also active at the moment. It really is cool to see all these baby blues coming out of their nesting burrows, and the parents are looking nice and relaxed now because it's getting a little bit easier to be a parent. I can confirm that as well. I remember when my daughter was very, very young, it was very, very tricky. But as she grew older, it's become a lot easier. So there definitely is some pressure off this parent, although it is constantly begging for food. Josh, it is amazing to watch these juveniles grow. Seems like not so long ago that there were just eggs around the colony and then these small little baby chicks, but now they are about the same size as the adults, and some of them will actually get so fat that they will weigh more than the adults before they head out. Sometimes these chicks can weigh about 4.2 kilograms, which is quite amazing, and that is all because of the hard work done by the adults. And this little baby blue looks like it is exploring its environment. I'd say picking up some vegetation with no real purpose. Of course, the adults do that to bring nesting material to their burrow. Maybe this little blue is trying to help to make its burrow more cozy. Just got a closer look of Igor, and it looked like it took off when it noticed you were observing it so closely, but has gone straight back to the safety of its parent. Can just hear this baby blue crying. I'm hungry, very, very hungry, and I want food now, right now. But I think that the other parent is likely to be out hunting, gathering food. I don't see another chick. It looks like that either this pair laid only one egg, or only one chick survived.
still can't believe the amount of oxpeckers on this poor hippopotamus. It's almost more oxpecker than skin at the moment. They do seem to be retreating now, it's heading into the water. Maybe that's what you should have done first there. Wow, they really are. That's an effective method there, hippopotamus. Well done. And oh, they go.
Alright, Igor, should we get mobile again and let's see if we can spot some more activity in this nice flat nesting area. See if we can bump into some more baby blues. This definitely is one of the most productive sites, nesting sites for the African penguins. And it's because of all this lovely vegetation that you can see. Low growing vegetation. It grows like a carpet and allows these beautiful little African penguins to burrow underneath it and provide their eggs and their brood with shade. Eagle's trying to get nice and close there. Hello, Kyle, and welcome to the show, and thank you so much for sending your question in. Why are they blue? So it's a very, very interesting question, but the feathers are quite dark in color, whether they are blue or black, and that dark pigment is very, very handy because melanin, that specific dark pigment acts as a natural sunscreen and is a and makes the feathers very, very hardy, which is important for these chicks at such a young age. So it's more the fact that they are dark as opposed to actually being blue. You'll notice that as the chicks get older and develop those contour feathers, they start to stand outside in the sun a little bit more, and their parents are also happier to grant them access out of the burrow and stand in the elements. This is a younger chick, hasn't quite reached baby blue status. You can see all the fine little down feathers just blowing around in the wind. And they're both in the prone position, just soaking up the rays of the winter sun as this cold ocean breeze blows directly onto them. I must say, they look so relaxed. There's nothing quite like an afternoon nap in the winter sun. Chick just taking a little stretch, stretching its right flipper up and opening its bill nice and wide. You could nearly see those backwards facing projections on its palate, and I wouldn't say down its throat. It's beyond the capabilities of Igor at the moment. Notice that there's not too many nest boxes in this area. There's one or two artificial nest boxes, but as I mentioned earlier, it's a very productive area for African penguins. We're going to get on the move a little bit. We're going to be walking past Cormorant Cove. So we're heading from World's End towards Cormorant Cove, past the flat nesting area. We're going to start making our way slowly towards the jacuzzi. Hello, Charles, and welcome, and thank you so much for that question. You've asked if juvenile penguins ever have different colors. In my experience, they generally look quite uniform. Of course, there can be differences if a specific skin cell didn't produce melanin, for example. that individual might have a lighter feather pattern. So there can be variances, but generally they are this lovely blue color on the dorsal side and nice and light or white with some spots on the ventral side. As they get older, the feathers do become darker as they reach the juvenile stage of their lives. All the little baby blues are really interested in the vegetation. Face into the wind, maybe you'll take off. Not quite. Penguins are a bit too solid boned and lack wings. So they won't be able to fly. They do fly underwater, of course, to a certain extent.
We protect and reconnect nature across southern Africa. We bring countries together to care for wild spaces that stretch beyond borders. We protect and restore biodiversity. We prioritize the people living in these landscapes, enabling them to thrive in harmony with nature. We are restoring tomorrow.
Herons are incredible predators. So it'd be quite cool to watch this individual and see if it goes to inspect any of the cormorant nests. Herons can eat baby birds. Just look how large the heron is. It does tower over the white-breasted cormorants that are fairly large themselves, being nearly 1 meter in length. They're about 93 centimeters from bill to tail. So it gives quite a good perspective of how large this grey heron is. We're used to seeing these herons down at Juma, hunting in the fresh water. But down here in the Western Cape, you do actually see them quite frequently along the coast, especially around shallow rock pools. And also in estuaries, where they stand motionless for hours at a time, looking for bait fish to feast on. I have seen the grey herons flying over us at Stony Point, but I've never actually managed to catch them settled in a specific area. So this is a really, really cool sighting. Doesn't look like it's up to too much mischief at the moment. Quite statue-like, actually. They can look quite ominous when they are hunched over like that as well. They're just busy tending to the feathers with that very, very sharp, long, pointed bill. It's also quite a tricky bill to preen feathers with. Hello, Linda. What seabird would I consider to be the most intelligent of them all? And there's only one answer that I can provide you there, and it is the master of the drift line, in my opinion. And the master of the drift line is the kelp gull. The kelp gull is such an intelligent bird. It sits around, it waits, it watches, it's observant. It really does not miss any activity that takes place around this penguin colony. And often, steals food from other birds and other organisms in that fashion. I just love how opportunistic it is and the variety of different techniques it employs to acquire food. Kleptoparasitism, stealing food from other birds or other organisms, is definitely a very, very clever way to obtain an easy meal.
If you would like to be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration in Kenya live on WildEarth, then we have some great news for you. There are a few places left to join our expeditions in August and September this year. You'll be staying in an exclusive tented camp with ensuite bedrooms nestled in the riverine woodlands of the Talek River. Head over to our website to book your bucket list experience today. WildEarth Expeditions. Travel with purpose. Here at WildEarth, we promised great monthly prizes for our explorers, and this month is no exception. If you join our club before the 10th of July, then you stand a chance to win a fabulous Safari Guide online course brought to you by Bushwise Field Guides. They specialize in accredited Safari Guide training with courses tailored for the African safari lodge industry. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer today and don't miss out on this life-changing opportunity.
I'm sure you can just hear the wind that is blowing up against us. It's actually quite nice and relaxing. Hitting us head on here, Igor and myself. And we were just speaking about the kelp gull, and we heard a lovely vocalization from an individual lying down in a prone position on the rocks here. Igor, I think let's make our way towards the jacuzzi as we continue our... This isn't quite a bumble, eh? It's more of a stroll. It's a stroll. This is our version of a bumble, ladies and gentlemen, back home. Everyone's going to be bumbling along with Tessa and Cedric a little bit later today, and Lauren, of course, in the vehicles. But this is us bumbling along down here at Stony Point. You can see what a team player I am as well. This is Igor's piece of equipment. But there's no I in team. They got to work together. So we're going to start approaching the jacuzzi area now, and I'm really, really hopeful that we get to have a look at Chipper. Not Chipper and Chomp, Flippy and Frodo. I've got those oyster catchers ingrained in my head. Hi James, thank you so much for sending your question in. What makes penguin flippers so unique? Well, all the bones within the flipper, or within that wing, because it is actually a wing, but we like to call it a flipper, are flattened. So it's very, very flat, cut through the water like a knife. They don't lift their flippers very high above their bodies either, because they don't need to fly, so the movement is quite limited, and all the muscles are concentrated in those flippers moving up and down to swim like that. They're also very hard as well, and they can actually use them for defense. So not only can they swim with them, they can use them for defense, they can use them for balance as well. So very, very unique if you had to compare them to the wings of other birds. They of course don't have any flight feathers on them as well, because they do not need them. There's no primary feathers there, no secondary feathers, no tertials, absolutely nothing designed for flight. Just very, very small uniform feathers that can cut through the water and not create any drag at all. All right, so we are down here at the jacuzzi. Flipper, Flippy, and Frodo. Are you home? It doesn't look like it. Not home today. I think that they must be out at creche. Or are they potentially under the boardwalk? I think Igor has just found them there. There's an adult here as well. We do know that they hang out under the boardwalk because it is the perfect spot, protected from the elements and very, very well protected from predators as well. So that is probably where they hide all the time when the parents are out hunting. There is a parent in tow at the moment, very, very close to the Shire. Might be more comfortable for Flippy and Frodo to be under the boardwalk and out of the nesting burrow because they are quite large. You can only dig so far into the back of the burrow before you hit the very, very hard sandstone rocks. Igor, can you just see one baby blue and one adult?
It's time to put your feet up after a long week. WildEarth invites you to unwind with a weekend at the waterhole, our life source of the bush, home to so much joy and danger. Join us on the 9th and 10th of July to get your wildlife refill broadcasted to you live all weekend at the waterhole. WildEarth's weekend at the waterhole is going to be epic, and we want to make sure that you are kitted out for the occasion. We've launched some wonderful merchandise just for you. Are you a dam cam lover? Find these and more on our website. So get your snacks ready, put your feet up, and join us for a weekend at the waterhole.
Put on their feathers during preening. The oil that they use on their feathers also has a very unique smell. So vocalizations and smell would be used to locate lost chicks. The baby blues that are currently on land, if their parents were not to return, they would not have a very good chance of survival. Because they cannot go out and hunt for themselves at this stage. And older penguin chicks, the main threat that they have, or main challenge that they have when they are older, is that if their parents go missing and they cannot receive food from them. Jerry, you are quite right indeed. Penguins under the boardwalk, very, very entertaining indeed. It is fantastic to see their heads popping in and out like that, and using man-made structures to their advantage. And this boardwalk is not only an advantage to the penguins because it provides them with shelter and protection from predators, it provides them protection from human activities as well. You'll notice when we walk on the boardwalk, it's not a very wide boardwalk, and it's very important that boardwalks like this are established at penguin colonies that the public can access, because it really reduces the impact on them. You can't run on this boardwalk. As soon as you run, penguins start to scatter, so they can be very badly impacted on by human activity. So Cape Nature has done a very, very good job in constructing this boardwalk. Hi Igor, how's it? This is me I'm looking at the African penguins underneath the boardwalk. From behind you, yes. I have to look underneath the bench to have a look to see what they are doing.
Your angle.
That is my angle, indeed.
Cool angle. I want to show you this penguin I just spotted with a pretty unique coloration. It looks like it's somewhere between a juvenile and an adult plumage.
Okay, well,
but I know they normally happen in one molt. So
let's go have a look.
Quite unique.
All right, so Igor spotted a unique individual.
Just have a look on my screen there.
I've already picked it up because it stands out like a sore thumb.
Oh, wait, now I lost. Oh, there we go. See that guy?
Yes, so that is a juvenile that has got a lot of white plumage just behind its ear. And what happens, sometimes the juveniles don't undergo a complete molt. They'll undergo a partial head molt, which has happened in this case. It's quite a unique looking penguin indeed. Hello Londa, you're 7 years old. Welcome to the show and thank you so much for sending your question into Igor and myself down here. So penguins don't have teeth. Actually, no birds have teeth at all. But if you look into a penguin's bill and you look very, very closely, you'll see these little bumps nearly. They're little backwards projections that kind of look like teeth, but they aren't teeth. But those little backwards projections are there to help the penguins keep hold of their fish that they catch and guide it down their throats into their bellies. So with the absence of teeth, they have developed another structure that they can use to help them hold onto prey. So that was a very, very interesting question, and thank you so much for tuning in to Penguin Beach with us down here. It's always a pleasure to have interactions from the viewers, and especially from the youngsters out there. We love it when you are watching us down here. This individual is very beautiful. It's nice to have a walk around the colony and observe chicks that are 30 days old, observe baby blues that are anywhere between 60 and 90 days old, and now juveniles that are approaching a couple of more months, so older than 3 months definitely. And it has undergone its first partial head molt, and I've just gone blank to when they actually take their inaugural swim, so this individual is definitely much older than 3 months, probably closer to a year. Yes, we can keep walking. Igor's got itchy feet today. It's because of all the coffee that he's drunk. We do have water in Betty's Bay today, so he has got his fill of coffee. Yesterday, that was not the case for Igor.
I also want to see if we can make it to the end for that little surprise that we picked up earlier.
Okay.
Although it might be we might have to sprint.
Oh, look at this beautiful fluffy chick.
So it's the weekend, and what better way to spend a day than sat near one of these wonderful waterholes?
So get yourself some snacks and a hat and come and join us for the weekend at a watering hole.
So for the days the 9th and the 10th of July, our teams here at WildEarth from across Southern Africa are going to be spending quality time at a number of waterholes.
We will see you there.
See you there.
Very, very busy. Looks like there's a tricky feather that doesn't want to dislodge. It might be irritating this penguin chick. They just look so scruffy when they are at this stage and they're losing their down. Half down feathers, half contour feathers. Partly fluffy in some areas and quite smooth and sleek in other areas. All right, moving past Rhino Rock there. That is Rhino Rock down here at Penguin Beach. We're moving now towards Oyster Cove from the jacuzzi. Hello, Wendy. I believe that gulls, especially the kelp gull, would attack cormorant chicks depending on how old they are. When cormorant chicks get quite old, they are actually very, very good at defending the nest, even in the absence of the adults. But when the cormorant chicks are young, they might try their luck. But the parents, the adult cormorants, are generally guarding the nest and will try and keep the gulls away from the nest. So they're likely to be okay, unless it is very, very hot and they have to go down towards the water to cool down. What a pleasure it is to be back here at Oyster Cove. No oyster catchers around.
Today it's just cove.
Today it's just cove. Not Oyster Catcher Cove, we are currently at Cove. Be very interesting to see if we do spot Oliver and Olivia here again in the next breeding season. Maybe they'll utilize the same area. Time will tell. It's just such a beautiful place with such fond memories of what I think every single viewer knows is my favorite bird down here along the coast. We've moved quite far through the colony. We spent quite a lot of time down at World's End because the cormorants were so active and really showing off for us, and we've covered such a nice stretch of the colony now, just showing off all the nests and all the baby blues and the chicks that are still occupying those nests. So all these individuals that we can see here on the rocks are likely to be non-breeding. You can see it as a mix of adults as well as juveniles that are taking it easy, facing their backs to the sun, warming up nicely. And I'm sure that the rocks that are behind them are protecting them from this icy breeze, so it is quite a very nice place for them to hang out. And those rocks have probably heated up throughout the day as well. Might be a bit of a stretch. We've got about 5 minutes left.
Okay. You think it'll still be there?
Probably.
WildEarth have really inspired me to return to South Africa after having followed so many beautiful characters. This Ticket to Dream has given me a great opportunity to meet the WildEarth team, which I thank. They're all amazing. I love all of the characters, but I do have a particular passion for leopards. It's a dream, and as I said before, I just keep on pinching myself. Am I really here?
If you would like to be a part of the team that shares the wildebeest migration in Kenya live on WildEarth, then we have some great news for you. There are a few places left to join our expeditions in August and September this year. You'll be staying in an exclusive tented camp with ensuite bedrooms nestled in the riverine woodlands of the Talek River. Head over to our website to book your bucket list experience today. WildEarth Expeditions. Travel with purpose.
Moving towards the break wall here. And this is a great area for dussies, so we might bump into some of the mammals that love this vertical rock wall just below us. I'm sure the dussies will be out basking in the sun, warming up their cold little bodies. Eagle's just popping the camera back on the tripod. There are some dussies down here that are chilling out in the sun here, as well as an Egyptian goose. Some of the dussies are active, some of the dussies are sleeping in typical dussie style. Andre, that is a great question. No, it is never too cold for me to go surfing. Growing up in the Cape, you really develop some thick skin when you can jump into the ice cold Atlantic Ocean, especially in summer, which sounds like it shouldn't be true, but the southeaster blows for weeks on end and just pushes all the warm surface water offshore. And what you're left with is this very cold water, and it's often colder in the ocean in summer than it is in winter. It was raining yesterday in the evening, and I'd left my wetsuit in a heap on the floor. It was nice and wet, and despite the rain and a wet wetsuit, Igor and I still went for a nice evening surf nearly into the dark. So we'll definitely surf throughout all weather conditions. The cold will not scare me away from catching a wave.
Unless the wave is frozen solid. Not too cold.
So there we go, Andrea. Unless the wave, Igor says, unless the wave is frozen solid, it's not too cold. Fair enough. But I must add that we will be layered in neoprene from head to toe to keep ourselves nice and warm. It does get too cold for the dussies sometimes, but today they are grateful that there is some sunshine that they can enjoy. It must be quite cool to be a dussie. They just seem to chill and eat. Chill and eat. Not a bad lifestyle, hey Igor? It has been so much fun at Penguin Beach today. I've really enjoyed being down here with Igor and everyone watching. We've had such a lovely walk throughout the entire colony. We've actually ended right down here at the access control gate and seen cormorants, penguins, dussies. It has been absolutely fantastic. Don't go anywhere. Stay glued. Because the team up in the Lowveld and in the Eastern Cape are going to be hanging out with everyone. Bobby, thank you so much, and thank you so much for joining us. It really has been a pleasure to be back down here at Penguin Beach. Cedric's going to be looking for some lions up at Juma. Tess is going to be bumbling along. Apparently it's quite nice and hot there, so not like this where it is very cold with this ocean breeze blowing onto us. Tess is going to be checking out the dams. I know Rolf is very excited to see what happens at the various waterholes today, and Chris of course is going to be cruising around on foot. So from myself and Igor down here at Penguin Beach, it's goodbye for now, and we're going to leave you with a statue of a penguin. What a way to end the show, Igor, a metal penguin.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.